Morgan.
Absolutely fantastic. And it's so evocative of a brilliant time for Welsh rugby. Really good to know what the players thought of these pieces because
Mr.
I'm not
Dexter.
sure how I'd feel if I was a grog, in all honesty. It would be good to know. Yeah? So, how are you? Oh. So, do you remember your first grog?
Yes, didn't look anything like that. In actual fact, he was very good looking. What he was good at, he captured the moment.
Yeah,
now that's what artists do, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, when I was looking there, I could see Gerald just putting that ball down.
I would say, and forgive me, Sir Gareth, I think on this occasion Sir Gerald will make a little bit more than you, and I hope you don't mind.
He can try.
He can try. It's not quite as refined as Sir Gerald in this pose. I think that's a really, really nice try-scoring pose. So they're both brilliant, but I am going to give you estimates here. Gareth is getting demoted at £300 to £400. Sir Gerald, I think, would do rather well at £600 to £800 on this occasion. But there will be occasions when you do better, Sir Gareth, I can assure you.
That'll do me.
While football, rugby and cricket spread across the world, some Victorian sports did not take off. Walking competitions lasting days at a time, we sadly left behind. And croquet was once a social phenomenon, one of the few games men and women could play together. In 1868, the All England Croquet Club was founded in Wimbledon to capitalise on the new craze. But it didn't take long for the hoops and mallets to make way for a brand new sport sweeping the nation: lawn tennis. Hilary Kay went to see the archives of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club to find out more. Today, Wimbledon is the most watched tennis event in the world, with over 500,000 people pouring through the gates each year, and millions more watching from home. But how did this corner of West London come to be home to one of the world's favourite sports? Emma Traherne is the senior curator of the Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Museum and has dug out some of the club's earliest treasures to share with Hilary.
We're surrounded by amazing things in the museum here at Wimbledon. Can you walk me through what we're looking at here on the table?
Yes, we've got some very lovely items here. We've got 40,000 objects in the collection, so just a few of them here for you. There was a chap called Walter Wingfield who sort of launched lawn tennis, or spheristicae was another word that he used to describe his new game in 1874, and this is one of his rule books here. Okay. And you would buy your rule book, but you could also buy everything you needed to play lawn tennis, including the rackets, which he referred to as bats, your net, and it all came in a nice little box, a bit like a croquet set with wood colouring. There are two different sizes, but most people bought the 5 guinea one, which was the smaller one, which was quite a lot of money in those days.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? First of all, the titles in ancient Greek, and then you start for 5 guineas, which is about £750 today. It wasn't for everybody, this game.
Now, he was aiming at people who had time to play, and also croquet was a sport that was falling out of favour, and so he'd noticed all these big houses had their croquet lawns were sort of lying idle. So that was his idea, was to design a game that men and women could play together. That was very important for him on these less used croquet pitches.
So, what kind of man was Major Wingfield?
We do think that he was a bit of an inventor generally. He invented a type of bicycle called the butterfly bicycle, and then after launching lawn tennis quite a few years later, he launched something which he described as bicycle gymkhana as well, which was cycling in sort of unison to music, mainly military marches. And he published a book on this and was hoping it was going to be the next lawn tennis.
Can you go to football?
Yeah, he went.
I want to see that as the Liverpool sport, wouldn't it?
that Sam
So it
took
became a craze.
Paul's car.
And then between
Oh,
1874 when it was
that's
launched, then in
Well, he got
1877,
himself well upset
bang,
because he
you had
couldn't
the
go.
first
Well, thought he wasn't going.
oh, poor little baby.
Yeah, so 200 people turned up,
Oh,
paid their shilling to get in, and 22 men. It was just
bloody
them
hell, it's
playing
emotional,
singles.
really.
Tentacle
It's
beat
emotional to
William
do this
Marshall
thing with
in the
him.
final,
Oh.
and he actually
Yeah.
did say
Oh,
that he didn't think
lovely.
that tennis was going to catch on.
She's got her
He found
bedroom
it
to
quite
do.
monotonous.
Sam's going to have
But
her.
luckily, he was wrong.
Because I think that the way she's talked here, and I think they've been told, right? I don't know. She's just
Tennis
said we've got to
equipment
keep the
has
house
changed a
working, and I
lot since
thought,
Spencer Hall won the first
maybe
tournament
someone
with a
said
wooden
something.
racket. And in the basement stores at Wimbledon is a treasure trove of rackets used at the championships.
My goodness, Emma, look at this. And this is
Yeah, got much storage, have they, in that house?
This is our main racket store.
Yeah,
And
I'd love
over
to
1,000
rent some in Brown
manufactured. We've
House.
actually got an example here of the earliest
would.
metal rackets that the public could buy. This racket was made in Aberdeen around the 1890s. It's quite heavy. Some of the other early metal rackets from the sort of 1920s, they tried stringing with metal. The vibrations were very horrible in people's hands.
I would never have believed that there'd be one from the 1890s, made of metal. The metal racket that I'm more familiar with was the racket that Billie Jean King used.
Yes, so Wilson T2000, got an example here. We've got many others in the collection. So this was basically the first successful metal racket. It was around the 1970s that the synthetic fibres of stringing did come in. Before that point, it was natural gut. It was often colloquially called cat gut, but it wasn't cat. It was intended to be sheep or cattle.
I heard that Djokovic and Roger Federer still use basically gut strings for their matches.
Yeah, some of the top players do choose to have either a mixture or natural gut stringing, yes, to their rackets.
They haven't done too badly with it.
And one level deeper in the stores are hundreds of clothes worn by famous players. From the miniskirts of the 1960s to the earlier outfits which were a bit more, well,
I'm
covered.
doing some more drafts, Dad. I'll get the players.
Very early. What sort of date do you put on that?
So around 1890, this is very much at that period what you might step out onto a lawn tennis court wearing it to your liberty. There weren't any rules about what you could wear on the tennis court for a very, very long time. Actually, that really early period, a lady would have just worn her normal dress on the court. So it would have been very, very colourful, whatever day dress she was wearing. But fairly quickly, after a couple of years, ladies decided that white might be a good idea.
Basically, white doesn't show sweat.
Exactly. So something like this would have been perfect. Yes, 1890s. It's that kind of lighter fabric as well. You can see it's sort of like a linen blend. So very good for like a summer garden party.
Was there a point when this sort of unofficial rule of wearing white became official at Wimbledon?
Yeah, so actually it was in 1962 that Maria Bueno wore an outfit with a shocking pink lining, and it was at that point we decided we would bring in a rule. So in 1963 it was predominantly white is what everyone had to wear. In 1995 we tightened it up a bit further and it's almost entirely white.
So now there's no question, if you see somebody playing in white on a green surface, it is 99.9% certain to be at Wimbledon.
Yes, that's right.
There was only one tournament when players didn't have to wear white at Wimbledon, the Olympics in 2012. The culmination of which saw Andy Murray win gold against Roger Federer in the men's singles final. The 2012 London Games were the third time Britain had hosted the Olympics. And though Greece was home to the ancient games, the seed of the modern Olympics was planted here in Britain, in much Wenlock, a small Shropshire market town. In 1850, local surgeon William Penny Brooks wanted to promote the moral, physical and intellectual improvement of the town by hosting the Wenlock Olympian Games. These would go on to inspire the first modern Olympics in 1896. 12 years later, in 1908, the Olympic Games were held in London for the first time. And at our show at Shuttleworth House, John Foster saw a gold medal from those games, won by Lieutenant Wyndham Halswell, under unique circumstances.
My great uncle joined the army, ended up to be a very good runner in the army, and got to the point of being the best. Did the interim Olympics in Greece, ran in London, I think it's his last race probably.
See, it's kind of downplaying it a bit, because Wyndham Haswell really is a game changer in the world of Olympics. Do you know that story?
Vaguely.
What he achieved was groundbreaking, because races weren't run in lanes at this point. It was just a free-for-all. And in other countries like America, nudging was permitted, but in England, it wasn't. So as the race was going on, he was nudged by 1 or 2 Americans. They were then disqualified, and the race had to be rerun the next day. But the 2 Americans refused. So he actually had to run the race on his own the next day. It's an unbelievable way to win a gold medal. So it must have been actually a real disappointment when you win an Olympic gold medal, but you win it because 2 people were disqualified, and then you end up running the race on your own. And I think that's actually what caused him to retire soon afterwards.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing is, why I say he was a game changer, because he actually changed racing, because after that and the controversy that happened, that's why today races of this distance are run in lanes.
That's the reason.
So what did he do once he'd retired from running?
Went back to being a soldier and claimed his First World War. Sadly got killed in 1915.
Wow.
Came to the front.
Going back to the medal, what's lovely, one is the condition. This is all original finish on here. And then you turn it over and you can just see the detail in it. But then round the collar, you've got the name there, Lieutenant Wyndham Haswell, winner 400 metres. And so with something like this, you've got a value of £3,000 to £3,500, something in that region. When you add in the story, I would say an auction estimate, you're going to be at 20 to 30,000.
That does surprise me. Yeah.
To have that in your family,
Yeah.
it's just truly remarkable. Thank you.
That's a pleasure.
As well as the Olympics, the precursor of the Paralympics began in Britain in 1948 at the Stoke Mandeville Hospital.
That's cars,
This trailblazing event would go on to inspire the first global Paralympic Games in 1960, held in Rome. At Stadium, there's an incredible collection of Olympic and Paralympic memorabilia, including a section of the track from London 2012. Here, our expert Siobhan Tyrrell is with athlete Kaz Walton, who attended some of the earliest Paralympian Games, with items from an incredible career.
Kaz Walton, OBE, I cannot get my head around how many sports you were involved in. It's almost too many to count, really. But swimming, table tennis, fencing, basketball. But the reasoning was because in the early days there just wasn't enough.
Daddy, she farted.
I think he has, yeah.
Teams. We had athletes doing individual events. So you either did 2, 3 or even 4 events at a games, or you weren't selected, and it was as simple as that. I eat and breathe Paralympics, really. And we can see that with the medals that we've got here. And all the gold medals that I won at Paralympic Games, they were all important. But I guess the first and the last one that I won just stand out a little bit for me. So the first 2 from Tokyo in 1964, and the last one from Seoul in 1988. And you've got a Japanese ball here. What's that all about? The first Paralympic Games is recognised as Rome in 1960, and they were still exploring what they thought we could take part in, how much our bodies would be able to endure, sadly. So the first ever track events were actually held in 1964, and they were only 60 metres. I won the first ever women's track event and got presented with the doll, who's absolutely beautiful. That was a privilege.
And I remember watching the 2012 London Paralympics. It was when really Paralympics sort of burst onto the scene, and it looked as plush and as well presented as the Olympics.
It was an absolutely huge step change for Paralympic sport. We've never had this sort of
Phenomenal,
outside.
isn't it?
Absolutely, it makes me emotional just just talking about it, and the coverage that we got too. That was a first, and the criticism that we got when we didn't do well in the sport, which annoyed me to start with, and then I thought, actually, that's equality.
Absolutely. Competing at the highest level can be a solitary business, with years spent training, often alone. So to share that journey with someone can make all the difference. We were contacted by an Olympian couple, swimmer Anita Porter, then Lonterer, and cyclist Hugh Porter. In 1964 they both travelled to the Tokyo Games to compete. On the plane over they met and fell for each other. At this stage, Anita was already an Olympic champion, having won gold in the 200-metre breaststroke in 1960, while Hugh was more of an up-and-comer. We caught up with them at Wolverhampton Mayor's Parlour, which now stores all of Hugh's medals, to hear the story of that journey that changed their lives.
Most of the people were sleeping on the plane or trying to sleep.
We were all sitting in different sports, and the swimmers were at the back, and I was the only one of the team that couldn't sleep. I saw on the right were the Wooden Pentathlon boys who I met 4 years earlier, so I stayed talking to them, and then the cyclists started introducing themselves and joining the conversation, and that's how I met Hugh. And I was about to go back to my seat, and they invited me to join him for breakfast.
I played a nice there, didn't I? Here's me sitting there with this aquatic megastar who's just about won everything and got more gold than Fort Knox. And I'm sort of pouring out the disappointment of the year after the previous year, and she, lovely Yorkshire lassie, is finding all the right words to encourage me and say, you know, getting it right and all that. And we just sort of got on well, didn't we?
Yes.
Sadly for both of them, 1964 would not be their year. Hugh caught a cold, which cost him a podium place, and Anita struggled in what would be her last Olympic Games.
I'd lost my fighting spirit, and unfortunately I just faded down and finished 7th. But I still broke my British record, so...
Were you 7th? I thought you were 5th.
Jeff phone's not on tonight.
Yeah, it is.
That's an unusual position for you.
One after this, I think.
Yes.
Oh, Dex, I can smell that from a mile off.
World Championships in the 5,000 metre individual pursuit. Their impressive medal haul finally crowned with matching MBEs.
I suppose I was playing a bit of catch-up really, because when I met this superstar...
Overall, 111. I'll beat 100 thingy now.
Good.
It's very, very important when you're competing at the ultimate
I ain't gonna
level,
wait for a drink, have I,
your
tomorrow?
partner's got to understand
Or
the
is it gonna be
demands of what
Sahara
you find.
Desert?
I don't know what you're on about.
Christmas.
No, don't tell me that.